Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's very good to have you here. I apologize for, not posting last week. I've been a bit under the weather. Which, that actually brings me to the first thing. I feel guilty about being under the weather. Now, I have to think about that for a second. Why do I feel guilty about being sick? Well, it's mainly because I get some people that are just like, "You're always sick." And it's like, yes, of you. My dark sense of humor, of course. But first of all, I don't like absolutes. And I know I'm not always sick. Actually, I'm sick about the normal amount, maybe a little bit more, and I'm not exactly sure why, which is why I'm going to the doctor to, see if there's something that I can do that would be a little bit better. I've gotten better at my diet. I've been doing my yoga, breath work, things like that. So I have been doing things to change and help me feel a little bit healthier. So I kind of wonder if it might not be something in my head, something kind of psychological. But I had to stop for a minute and kind of think about that for, just the point of why do I feel guilty when people say something like that to me? And I had to take a deep look into, why this was affecting me the way that it was. And the truth of it is because a part of me is still can still be a people pleaser. I feel horrible when I feel like I'm letting people down. But people get sick. Everybody gets sick. It happens, and like I said, I've been changing my habits to be a lot healthier. So I really have no reasoning, for getting sick. But then again, there have been a lot of people around me that have gotten sick, especially in Colorado, where the temperature has been up and down pretty much like a roller coaster, which has pretty much created a petri dish for many different bugs like cold, flu, things like that. So I know my daughter wound up coming down with it. My nephew did. A lot of my household did. And some of them bounced back rather quickly because, one, they're younger than me, of course. And two, they were able to kind of isolate themselves and such, and that did help. Unfortunately, I was not able to. It sucks being an adult sometimes, huh? And that's been a lot of my life, is pushing through the pain or the sickness or something like that, and not really allowing myself the time to rest and heal. And that goes physically and emotionally as well, because as I've said before, I've had people that I felt like were depending on me, and I didn't like letting them down. But one thing that I've told many people before is, healing is a big job, and you gotta help yourself and help your body do its job and heal. You've got to take that time to rest and recuperate and ground yourself and get things together. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because what I just described, taking that inner look and that kind of inner inventory, is part of what Carl Jung called shadow work. Now, one of my best friends this weekend surprised me with this book, and it is based on, Carl Jung's idea of shadow integration. And taking a look at these things, like I said, why it upset me when people said that I was always sick, or why, it upsets me when people say, things like, it's been a year, get over it, type of thing. And it makes me feel like there's something wrong with me. But the truth of it is, there isn't. There are going to be people that don't like me. There are going to be people that, don't agree with me on several things, and that's okay. That's one of the things that I've talked about before, is let them not like you. Because if you try to be a people pleaser, in some ways that's a form of manipulation, trying to make everybody like you. And honestly, it's not going to work. So the best thing to do is be true to yourself and be understanding and caring to yourself. I was listening to a podcast by Aaron Doughty, and he was talking about raising your vibration is, he said it was a bit of a trap, because he goes, think of yourself as a cork on the ocean. He goes, instead of trying to raise yourself like above the ocean, try to just let go of the things that are causing resistance, that are pulling you down. And people pleasing is one of those things that causes resistance. Trying to change yourself into the expectations of others is going to cause resistance. It's, letting go of those things is honestly one of the best ways to raise your vibration. Understanding that there are going to be people who, don't agree with you is actually very free, because you don't feel that compulsion to try to make everybody happy. I mean, honestly, it's been exhausting. My life as a people pleaser has been exhausting. Honestly, it's gotten me into a lot more trouble than what it was worth. Letting those people go. I was talking to a friend the other day, and I was telling him that you don't swim out to somebody who is drowning, because they don't mean to, but it's instinct to grab onto something, to pull yourself above, at least even pull yourself above the water. So you give them something to hold on to other than yourself, because otherwise they're going to drag you down. And that's the exact opposite of raising your vibration, right? So honestly, give them something to hold on to, give them a life preserver, a life jacket, or something to that effect. That way they can help pull themselves up. Otherwise, you both drown. And what good does that do anybody? You know? Be understanding with yourself. Identify these, quote unquote, darker sides of yourself. And, try to understand them a little bit more. And it feels so freeing. It really helps. Understanding that grief is something that you're supposed to feel. It's something that I know it sucks, but it makes love and companionship and like true unconditional love feel so much better. Even just remembering those dark times and thinking, I survived that, is a wonderful feeling. And there have been so many dark times in my life that I can think back on and say, I survived that. Wow. And I did it maybe not by myself, but on my own. Because essentially I did have to pull myself up. I had to, first of all, I had to accept the support that people were giving me. And some of them I didn't, and okay, well, that's, my right as well. But, I was able to let go of the people who were dragging me down. So now I've been able to surround myself with the people who really lift me up and help me raise my vibration. So I hope you try this yourself, understand that there are going to be some people that don't like you. Try not to give them too much of your energy because, sometimes we have a finite amount of energy to give. And honestly, some people really don't deserve yours. So if you like my style, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.